friends on the old YouTube. Talking about sports, me and you. Roope and Rumsey is their name. Chat about things from the latest game. Roope and Rumsey, oh Roope and Rumsey. It's time for Roope and Rumsey. The boys.
All right. Well, thank you again to the magical and mystical Terry Hahn for the intro song. Guys, it's great to be back after a brief hiatus due to health concerns. Man. The R&R Show is back, so we do apologize for the, once again, the brief hiatus. But we are back, and we're excited to be back. And today we'll be talking about me and William's favorite subject, fantasy football.
Yes.
I mean, it's that time of year, and boy, I'm excited. And what we're going to do today, we are going to break down. We're going to break this into two different segments. We'll break them down 1 through 10, and then 11 through 20. So me and William will be giving you guys our top 20 fantasy football players that are on our board. This is a very fluid situation, obviously, this year with the virus and people opting out and people getting whatever issues. But this year more than any should be interesting, and I'm excited to see where your list falls here, buddy.
Yeah, we're almost into August. When do training camps start?
I believe they've kind of already have reported. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Very exciting.
But the crazy thing is we're not going to get a sneak peek because basically the preseason games usually gave us an indication of where the coaches were heading for certain different camp battles and what have you, and we don't have that this year.
Yeah, it's probably going to affect the rookies the most. They're not going to have that time to, that game action in the preseason games to build up, and to see the speed of the game. I mean, they'll get it in practice, but until the lights come on, they don't really get a true feel of it.
That's a big difference. Big difference.
Very exciting. But hey, we've got football.
Yes, we do, and I'm excited. So, and again, for all you fantasy players at home, we're interested to see where you think me and William's list basically hit on and maybe fall short.
So before we start, how long have you been playing fantasy football?
Boy, I think I've been, me personally, I would say maybe 20 years.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I mean, it's a little bit longer than I started in 2004.
Yeah.
I remember with my college buddies, we did our first, I think we had 7 people maybe.
Yeah.
It was a very small league.
Yep.
Very barbaric, as we like to say.
Yes.
And then when you're talking about your fantasy prowess, what do you tell people about your championships?
Oh, I'm a 72-time fantasy football
I just wanted to get that out of the way. I mean, it's probably woven in at various times throughout
for you at home, that's something to shoot for. I've won 72 championships through my 20-year tenure. Obviously, I'm in quite a few different leagues.
I've won a few less.
Yeah, a few less. But that being said, obviously, fantasy brings a lot of joy. A lot of water cooler talk around the office. It brings pretty much everybody together. You'd be hard pressed to not find someone that doesn't do fantasy football.
Yeah.
So,
with what's going on in the world, we like the togetherness of fantasy football.
Absolutely.
Ready to do this?
Yep. Let's do it. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off actually from the top, since typically everybody has their top people fairly the same. We're going to start 1 through 10. Who do you got number 1, buddy?
Christian McCaffrey.
That I do too. I think that should be for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I think just the last couple of years, he's just been a stalwart. He stays healthy. He catches the hell out of the ball. Last year, he had 116 receptions for over 1,000 yards, caught 4 touchdowns.
That's back-to-back 100-plus catch season.
Yeah.
So that's, when you become a dual threat like him. I mean, that's just gravy if you're in a PPR league, and we are going to base this off of, once again at home, off of a PPR league plus quarterbacks are getting 6 points as a touchdown. On some leagues do 4.
Yeah.
We're basing this off a 6-point throwing touchdown.
And that's 1 point PPR.
Yep.
Some leagues do half points,
Yep.
quarter points, what have you. This is a full point PPR.
Correct.
Another thing I liked about Christian McCaffrey, he had the ball in his hands 403 times last year.
Yes.
Fumbled 1 time.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
I mean,
now, do you worry? He played with some pretty quote unquote dog shit quarterbacks last year and put up those kind of numbers. Do you wonder if they will do maybe a little bit of a less focus now that they have a more competent quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, so they've got actually a lot of new stuff. So they got a new coach, Matt Rule, he's coming in. I think they have what's his name, Joe Brady, the LSU offensive coordinator. He came in this year, so completely new offensive system philosophy. So that is a concern. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have a big arm, so I feel like I can't believe they're going to want to chuck the field down along with. So there'll probably be a lot of check downs to Christian. So I think until proven otherwise, I would still put him as top dog.
Young receivers that are another year in, and then they also brought in Robbie Anderson. So I got to think that they're going to pass it a little bit more. And I think they're going to want to lighten his load a little bit. They're not going to want to burn him out after 4 or 5 years. But I don't think anybody's going to doubt or argue with our first pick for both of us, CMC.
Another worry, though, he is dating, I think, a supermodel, Olivia Culpo.
I don't think that's a worry. I think that's
I don't know. We've seen other athletes be ruined by relationships. So
very true.
Never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Who do you got your number 2?
I have Mr. Ezekiel Elliott.
We already differ.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I really went deep on this one to kind of see, I've had Zeke in our keeper league for quite a few years, so I'm a little bit partial to him.
Yep.
But went pretty deep, because most pundits have Saquon at number 2.
Which I do.
Yeah. So I looked at the schedule, because Saquon struggled a little bit last year.
Yep.
Hamstring issues. I can't remember if he had anything else going on, but he didn't. After his stellar rookie year, he didn't have he was still good, but down the stretch. But I went and looked at the schedule. So Saquon, he starts off with the Steelers, Bears, and 49ers to start the year. That was the 6th, 4th, and 8th total defense. So I think he might struggle right out of the gate, and you know how important it is to start hot.
So we'll talk a little bit because I have Saquon, Zeke, but I have Saquon 2, Zeke 3, and you obviously have them flip-flop.
Yeah.
So obviously your schedule concerns. Okay, and what else do you jump out at you in regards to those?
So and then Zeke's schedule, he starts off with Rams, Falcons, Seahawks, and Browns, and none of those defenses finished in the top 15.
Okay.
I think also Zeke got a new coach coming in, Mike McCarthy, who really likes to run the ball.
Yep.
So I just think with those factors, and Zeke's finished as a top 5 running back the last 2 years, so I think just as consistency.
Oh, he's one of the true bell cow running backs that he just doesn't leave the field.
Played all 16 games last year, so that's why I've got him at number 2.
The reason I kept Saquon at 2 is he's the only one I believe has the chance to take over McCaffrey at number 1 if he stays healthy. I mean, he's already shown the ability to, just like McCaffrey, catch it out of the backfield. And I like Saquon more than Zeke due to the fact of he's got the breakaway speed. He's always a big. It seems like he's always just 1 or 2 plays away from a big play. Because Saquon definitely does have that ability. The one thing that just knocked me down, Zeke to 3, although he's a bell cow and he's a wonderful pick, obviously at number 3, and he also 2 years ago he had 77 receptions, so he has the ability to catch the ball. But I just feel like Dallas is switching more to a passing team. I saw it a little bit last year where Zeke, he always feeding. They weren't doing that as much.
Right.
I don't believe. I think they were trying to make it more to a passing team.
He had 300 rushes last year.
Yeah, I just
54 balls.
I just didn't feel like he was the focal point as much as he was in the previous years, and maybe that's by design. I don't know, but that's why I bumped him down.
How do you feel about Jason Garrett being the offensive coordinator for Saquon? What will that do?
Well, I think to be honest with you, it'll do well.
Okay.
These are everything always is based off of injuries, and Saquon got hit by the injury bug last year, but he's so young, and I do, Garrett, 2 years ago featured Zeke, and that was because I don't think they had the passing receivers around him, because then they get Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
He's going to ride Saquon.
Yeah.
I mean, he's their by far and away star.
Did you see that recent video of Saquon jumping out of the pool?
I did.
That almost put him in the top 2 for me.
So again, our top 3, we just had 2 and 3 flip flop. CMC number 1, Saquon for me number 2, Zeke for him number 2, and then 3 for Zeke, and then him Saquon. So who do we got at number 4?
I have Michael Thomas.
I also have Michael.
Oh,
Thomas.
wow.
So we're the same there.
Wow.
A lot to like about Michael Thomas,
man.
which happens to be one of my keepers in one of my leagues.
So he had 375 fantasy points in our format last year, and that beat, I believe, the next best wide receiver by 100 fantasy points. Chris Godwin, I believe, was the next. That's, I know running backs are the bread and butter, usually of first-round picks. But with numbers
and
like
that's weird that you say that, because actually a couple years ago it kind of switched to the receiver, but people realize there's so many.
But I mean, looking at the receiver list, it's not as deep as one would think either.
No,
I mean, you have a lot of question marks. I mean, once you get past like the top 10, you have some question marks.
Yep.
He's had 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, 3 years in a row. Drew Brees is coming back for another year. It's his last year, so I think they're going to let him throw at will.
Yep.
The only minor concern I would have, he's never had 10 touchdowns in a season.
Yep. He's always at the 9 mark. A lot of the same stuff. What you love about Michael Thomas is his hands. He's the most sure-handed receiver out there. If it's in his vicinity, it's his ball.
Yep.
There's no question about it. I do like him. I almost bumped him up to 3, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And the reason is once again, a lot of these training camps, he doesn't need a training camp. They've already got that connection, and Drew Brees is going to lean on it. The only possible is there going to be any friction from Drew Brees' comments with Michael Thomas, coming out, putting him on blast. So that's the only maybe question mark out there. But as far as a ball player, Michael Thomas, it doesn't get any better.
I mean, he had 185 targets last year, caught 149 of those.
Yep.
I mean, that ratio, you look at some of the other receivers, they're not anywhere close to that.
No.
I mean, that volume, catching that.
Will Emmanuel Sanders kind of eke into that a little bit? I don't know. We'll see. I
can't imagine. Too
but
much.
they haven't
a
had,
little bit.
But they haven't had a competent number 2 in a while. So. Who do you got number 5?
I have Mr. Alvin Kamara.
I also have Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
So I said, I thought a lot of people's their top 5 to 10 will be fairly similar. What do you love about Alvin?
This is a running back that really severely benefits from PPR. I mean, he's had 81 catches 3 years in a row.
Yep.
He's got one of the best offensive lines out there. But he was a tough one for me. His numbers went down a little bit last year, but
he was very tough. I could have very easily dropped him 3 or 4 spots. It's all going to depend how you see, is he going to hold up.
Yeah.
But as far as elusiveness, it doesn't get any better.
He battled ankle and knee injuries last year, so if we're going to give Saquon a pass, we'll give Alvin a pass. And he's a game breaker. He can win you weeks.
Yep.
So
and with that high-powered offense, what separates Saquon without Kamara is Barkley doesn't have as many mouths around him, whereas Kamara has a lot.
You don't like Darius Slayton?
Not as much as you. But no, Kamara again. It's again the familiarity with the offense, just like Michael Thomas. He's been in it for years. the continuity. He doesn't need the preseason where a lot of these other people are going to. I think he's good.
And do you believe in the contract year theory?
Yes.
This is a contract year for Alvin.
I'm a huge believer in the contract.
Okay.
I tend to pick players in the contract year as opposed to if they're equal, I always take the contract.
There you go.
So, who do you got number 6?
I have Mr. Dalvin Cook.
Once again, we are locked in.
Oh, wow. Now, just to let everybody know, we don't discuss this before.
No, we don't discuss it. And the great thing about Dalvin, if you remember last year in the draft, I personally said Dalvin will win a lot of people championships. It's going to be a breakout year for him.
And I think I personally disagreed with that
I
sentiment.
think you did.
And I had egg on my face.
Yes.
I'll be the first to admit. I do believe that he is the least accomplished in the top 10.
Well, I will say this. Okay, he was more the 1 year. Okay, so he had a good year, but last year, and he was the best after for the first 2.5 months of the year. Nobody was better than Dalvin, and I think it's only going to be better this year as long as he can stay healthy. And that's a big if, but if he stays healthy, he is the absolute focal point of that whole offense.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a kid behind him, Alexander Madison, that they're probably going to want to work into. Because one, again, he's in a contract year.
Yes.
So are they going to give Dalvin based on really 1 year of great production, are they going to give him a contract comparable to these other running backs that have gotten contracts?
Yep.
So, I mean, Zimmer, obviously, he just made him a captain for this year. So, I don't know.
I think Zimmer's going. I think Madison will lighten the load because they want to keep Cook fresh for when it comes to playoff time. But again, I all the signs point to Cook again as long as he stays healthy. Is pointing to a great.
Yeah, I mean he caught 53 balls last year for over 500 yards and scored 13 touchdowns, rushed for over 1,100 yards. So the numbers were there last year. Now,
and that was
towards the end of the year in the playoffs, he hurt some folks.
Yeah,
because I think he
because he was hurt.
Yeah, but I think he had a couple bad games before he got hurt too.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, because he was bad.
Man, I just thought he may move out of my top 10.
No, Dalvin's solid. Hey, those at home vote. Pick Dalvin with a lot of confidence.
And they lost Stephon Diggs. So how do you think that'll affect how they divvy it out?
I think that it's only going to help Dalvin.
Okay.
I don't think now they'll have the pressure of Kirk feeling like he needs to. Get the ball to Diggs as opposed to dumping it off.
Okay.
I literally think Dalvin's going to be.
There we go. Maybe you'll move him up.
I might move him. I always talked him into moving him up.
Yeah.
All right, who do you got at number 7?
I have Devontae Adams.
All right, we're a little bit different here. This is really at the point in the draft that it's going to start to be a lot of difference. So, what made you want to pick Devontae at number 7?
Well, just super talented. I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers' number 1 target. Now, that obviously used to mean more than it does now.
Yep.
They didn't draft any really receivers to compete with him, which I think pissed Aaron Rodgers off.
Yep.
He caught 83 balls for 997 yards last year. He was hurt, got dinged up a little bit. I think he missed 4 games. But when he plays, he's a superior receiver.
That he is. And again, no competition, 4 targets on the receiving side. Outside of Adams, there isn't much to work with in Green Bay for the receivers. So, number 7, I have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, year in and year out, the last 2 years have probably won a lot of folks fantasy football championships. He only gets stronger as the year gets on, and typically he turns on the Jets. The last 8 games of the year, and again, he is the focal point of the offense. Everything runs through Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill should buy him like any car of his choice because of Derrick Henry. Tannehill got a nice contract because I will tell you this. That team is centered solely around Derrick Henry, and anything that Tannehill does is basically off of Henry with his play action fakes. It's amazing, what kind of contract Tannehill got out out of them because of Derrick Henry.
Now I have him at number 8, so I'll just piggyback off of that. I mean, he's 6'3", 247 pounds. He's just a bulldozer.
Yep.
I mean, watching that guy run, and I would say right now he is probably the least favorite player for those linebackers and
all those DBs and line safety. He is such a massive guy. How many times have we watched? Like, they didn't even know how to get in there to even attempt because he's got such long reach and stiff arm.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's only missed 2 games in 4 years, so he is, a picture of health.
Yep.
Just got a new contract, only 26 years old. Tannehill, again, is settled in as a starter, so I think that will only help. Now, the only thing is, A.J. Brown may take a next step into superstardom, so they could throw a little bit more, and Derrick Henry does not catch passes.
Yep.
He caught 18 last
year. That's his only drawback.
Yeah. So PPR, he's not going to get those extra points, by when Tannehill checks that ball down.
Yep.
And he probably does he come off the field on third downs? I don't even know.
Typically, they
third down.
Well, they had the guy from New England.
Dion Lewis. Yeah. But even if he regresses 25% from what he did, that's still 1,200 yards and 12 TDs.
He's an absolute beast, and again, that's what they like to do is they like to pound the ball. And again, for any Derrick Henry owners, I know you guys typically want to pull the trigger after a sluggish beginning of the year, but they're riding him at the end of the year. That's when it usually takes the big guy a couple weeks to get it going, but he always does. So, who do you got your number? That was your number 8. My number 8 was one of our own, Joe Mixon.
Who dey?
Yes, and he's in a contract year. He's not got that contract yet. And I've got to think we are in store for big things with Joe Mixon. The line's better. We got the Alabama guy healthy and back on the number 1 pick last year. And we've got now Big Dick Joe taking place of one Andrew Dalton, which only is going to loosen up that defense. They're not going to be able to bring that safety up into the box. And really, that's what they did last year. And he still had a good year. I love Joe Mixon. If Joe Mixon was on some other teams like the Saints with that offensive line, the Cowboys, some of those good. This guy would probably be pressing more towards like McCaffrey numbers because he is a great receiver out of the backfield. And I'm excited to see what Burrow brings to. His numbers.
I've got him a little bit higher on my list, so I'll circle back and go over him.
So who you got your number 9?
I have the Cheetah.
The Cheetah.
Oh,
it's near and dear to both me and William Cards.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Fastest dude in the NFL.
Yes.
Has the best QB in the league.
Yep.
Last year he was dinged up a little bit. He only went for 860 yards, only caught 58 balls. But the year before that, he had 87 receptions, 1,400 yards, 12 TDs. So I think he will come back. Now, they do have a lot of mouths to feed in Kansas City.
Yes, they do.
But I think he's the best receiver on that team. Well, him and Travis Kelce. But I think, Tyreek is obviously the deep threat.
Yep.
I actually just the other day watched a video. It's like a 3-minute clip of cornerbacks and safeties talking about trying to defend Tyreek Hill. They're just like, he is phenomenal.
I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, it might have been 3 years ago, they had, it was against Dallas. It was towards halftime. It was last play before half, and they had to punt the ball. Or kick off the ball. Well, they kicked it off, and they didn't know how to defend the Cheetah, and they were all kind of like trying to play back, but he has such a video game speed, and they ended up just letting him touchdown because they didn't know how to defend him.
Yeah.
He's just he's got game-changing speed.
And those DBs talked about, when he first came in the league, he was pretty raw, not great at route running, so he was just all speed. That's world-class speed, but now they're saying he is becoming a route running receiver as well, which only... and with
the Ferrari,
Patrick Mahomes,
Yep. That's I can't disagree with you. My number 9. This is where probably I'm going to get a lot of groans from the crowd, but I'm telling you right now,
Oh.
If you don't reach for him, you will not get him. And I think he is going to be an absolute superstar, and that is Miles Sanders. Absolutely love him. Gone is Jordan Howard. Retired as Darren Sproles, and basically he's not going to fight anybody for touches, and I think he is the new McCaffrey. Watch out for this guy. He could very easily be in the top 3 next year. Miles Sanders and the Eagles have a great line, and I'm telling you right now, Miles Sanders is one to watch, and especially, there was somebody that opted out for the Eagles receivers.
It was Goodwin.
Goodwin. And he was going to be, with just another weapon gone, I guarantee that they're going to be focusing on Miles Sanders. So,
and that's, you've brought it up a couple times. You talk about, some of these guys may not be ranked as high in all the pundits' rankings, but it's like buying stocks. You want to buy in low, to get these guys that can take the next step. Because that's what ultimately wins you 72 championships, is getting those guys, hitting on those guys that really go above and beyond what they're projected to do.
Yes.
Only concern I have with him is Doug Peterson. So he's never really been one to give all the carries and receptions to one running back, but again, you hit on he's head and shoulders above any other running back.
And there's no competition there. So I think that
I think
Peterson,
he took over last year, week 11, for Jordan Howard, and then they really started taking off.
Yep. I just think that they're going to focus the offense around him, and I'm expecting huge things out of Sanders. So get him this year, guys. All right, and then we're going to finish out our top 10. Who do you got number 10?
I have Mr. Julio Jones. Mr.
Julio!
Consistent. Yeah, Mr. Consistent.
Yes.
Yeah, that dude, if you build a receiver in a lab, it would probably look like Julio
Absolutely.
Jones. 6'3", 220 pounds. Last year, he missed 1,400 yards by 6 yards. That would have been 6 years in a row, which is an NFL record.
It's unbelievable.
Matt Ryan, he's got a good quarterback. Now, Matt Ryan's probably not the greatest quarterback, but he's been consistent. The only kind of bugaboo for Julio is his touchdown count over the years.
It's always been the one.
And I recently read a thread on Twitter of why that occurs, and there's a bunch of different theories. Is it because of Matt Ryan's arm? Do they just triple team that dude when they get to the goal line? But that is his only bugaboo. But I would say, as far as getting consistent threat, Julio Jones is at the top of that list.
I agree. I absolutely agree. He's a little bit further down on mine, not too much further, and I'll go in a little bit of detail.
And they added Todd Gurley to the team, so I think that last couple of years they've had Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Well, he left last year, but I think that can only help the passing game.
My number 10 is somebody you've already talked about, is Devontae Adams. I won't go in too much since you've went it over pretty good. Again, as long as he stays healthy, I believe he's probably going to get 130 catches this year.
Oh, man.
And that's just because there's nobody else around him. They may kind of switch gears a little bit towards a running team. And I think that started to happen last year. But Devontae doesn't have, if he would have stayed healthy, he would have probably hit 100. I mean, Rodgers loves him. He trusts him. He doesn't trust any of those other guys.
The Packers, it's a weird team, Ryan. I think it's the weirdest team in the league. You
can't get your arms around what they want to do.
They drafted a QB in the first round. They take a running back in the second round. And it's just Rodgers and LaFleur, the head coach, they just don't seem to be on the same page. So I just can't but Devontae Adams
absolutely is Rodgers' safety valve. I mean, he trusts him, and I think as long as, again, he stays healthy, that's always a big question with everybody. But I think we could very easily see 130 catch season out of Devontae. So, well, that will do it for our top 10. Let us know where we were right, where we were wrong. Let us know what you guys have.
Let him know where he was
That's
wrong.
right, and get you a fantasy championship. So we will be back here to go through 11 through 20. Thanks.